Welcome everybody, and welcome back to Forward Operating Base Lake Fork. I'm out here at beautiful Lake Fork. It's a gorgeous day. It's sunny. It's a little partly cloudy. They got a nice cool breeze blowing. It's been hot now in the sun, but you know, just to get on the weather, it's cooling off already. You know, we're late in the first week of August. Seems like it's already cooling off to me. It's already getting cooler at night. I've had some night fishing trips, and you know, I think it's been a short summer. So I've been looking for the thermocline. I only saw it set up for a couple of days earlier last week, and that's it. And then it went away. I went back straight to the areas because I had a guide trip for crappie the next day, and it was gone. So really, you know, I'm not really sure. I was out today and didn't see the thermocline out there either. Also in my part of the lake that I was fishing. So I'm going to go right into it. Again, did some night fishing, some day fishing for myself, and did some crappie fishing. For you guys that saw me on Instagram, holy cow, you know. Had a really fun week crappie fishing, and I caught one that was like 16¼ inches long. This was the biggest crappie that I've caught this year. What a great time. And the husband and wife, they caught the same fish at the same time, so they doubled on the same fish. I was helping the wife reel up, and next thing you know, the husband said, "Oh, you know, I think he's got my line." And as I went down and grabbed the crappie, it had 2 jigs in its mouth. The crappie had actually eaten both their jigs, but the wife got a chance to reel it in, so they really doubled up on that fish. It was pretty fun. So this week, you know, getting out and doing some morning fishing again. I'm still trying to go out on some shallow points and throwing up. The fish I haven't caught the big ones doing that. The biggest one was like 2 pounds this week. Rattle trap and a Senko were the 2 fish that I caught that way. You know, I had a trip with 3 friends, 3 gentlemen that hadn't fished in a long time, and you know, I was showing how to throw a Senko. I got a bite, you know, first cast with a Senko. Top water, same thing. So I caught a number of fish that was on the first cast. But that's kind of what I'm throwing in the morning. You know, any kind of lipless. I was throwing some top baits like a heading spook, but I just wasn't getting the bites on them. You know, we got one bite on a whopper flopper, you know, but just didn't really seem to happen. And then it was a sunny day, so we just kind of transitioned out to the deeper water a little earlier that day and started, you know, kind of grinding out some fish with some deep jigs, big worms, and stuff like that. You know, and that day I'll get to. The biggest fish was 6.8 that day, so it was a pretty good fish. So daytime fishing. Look, the grind. I'm really going back and throwing the big jigs again. Now I didn't take out the whole jig, but you know, I'm still in 3/4 and 1 ounce jigs in the bluegill colors with a pumpkin seed trailer that I've got dyed chartreuse, you know, garlic flavor. And this is the kind of color that I'm throwing the jig. This isn't the exact jig, but those are the colors. You're looking for the bluegill color, and that's what the gentleman caught his big fish on. He lost one earlier. It was a pretty good fish. We didn't get a chance to see it, but it was really bending his rod down. And then we did land the second fish, though, and got that with board. That was a great fish. And then, you know, look, some crankbait fishing. I'm throwing anything that runs kind of either kind of a brassy colored crankbait that I'm throwing that runs 10 to 15 feet deep. And it just depends, you know. I'll throw one. I like to throw one that runs the 15, and then I just kind of lift the rod up to get it shallower if I have to. There were some fish. I found some fish suspending near trees, and I caught them that way. But you know, I just have not really had a ton of crankbait fish this season still yet. I did a little vertical spoon jigging, but I didn't really get on. I was catching some barfish, some large barfish, but I wasn't catching any bass on it. And I didn't do too much of it. I've been mostly sticking to it the soft plastics. So soft plastics, you know, look, for me during the day, the 2 that have been doing the best for me are a red shad, a big 10.5 inch red shad with the ribbon tail, and then basically the chartreuse colored, you know, pumpkin seed colors. And again, I'll dye this just at the end of the tip to get that color. Now I'll fish this both Texas rigged and on a shaky head rig. The shaky heads, football shaped shaky heads that you can throw and run these baits both in the deep water, fishing brush piles, and taking those, you know, fishing it around the brush piles, using my electronics to see if there's any bass down there. I'm still finding bass around those brush piles that have like 6-inch crappie in them, or if it's got a ton of bluegill, that's a really good one. You can see it'll be just loaded with bluegill. That's a great place to float that jig. It's a great place to throw, you know, this pumpkin seed worms. So, and then another thing that I was doing is I actually took a big fat, extra fat Senko. Okay, I rigged it just straight Texas rig style, weedless, and I was just dropping that. I used my electronics to look down to see the fish in the trees. And I used this green one because it does the bluegill colors again, but I also was using a white one, and I got bites on both of them. I was actually fishing in 25 feet of water with these Senkos and letting them just sink down into the tree, using my electronics to spot the fish, and then lifting it and letting it fall back down in front of the fish and lifting it. Now, sometimes it took a lot of lifts. The fish were in there, and I mean, because I caught fish on crappie jigs. I threw a crappie jig down if they wouldn't hit it. I actually caught some bass on crappie jigs. So, you know, that makes a lot of sense to people out here to crappie fishing because they'll catch them, you know, they catch them all the time. But I caught some decent fish this week on crappie jigs. And maybe it's because I was just doing it more and I was looking for the bass also and not just fishing for crappie with them. So maybe that's why. Okay, so let's talk about night fishing. So my night fishing, I've been going out, kind of getting out early, throwing some topwater baits, some whopper floppers, and you know, kind of reel that. And I just had a fish strike right over my dock. Whopper floppers, I'm throwing over some of these points. If I have some wind blowing on it, if I haven't had the wind blowing, I've been still staying a little further. I'm trying to find a grass, throw some Senkos in the grass, and some topwater baits, some small poppers, things like that. Around the edge of the grass, chatter baits, you know. But again, I haven't caught a bigger fish doing that. It's kind of like just getting ready to go into the night fishing. So at night, I like to get out to the lights, and I'm doing the same thing. I'm taking the Senkos, I'm throwing them into past the light, you know, past in the dark, and I'm kind of working them real slow. I like to kind of start with the quieter baits before I get to the noisier baits. So, you know, go with a Senko, go with a crankbait that does not have any rattles in it. Go with a spinnerbait, you know, the darker spinnerbaits. If you're throwing around the lights, you don't have to have the big black, you know, Colorado blade spinnerbaits. You know, there's light down there, so you can have the flashiness of the normal spinnerbait down there. Keep it near the brush, keep it near the dock pilings, and then, you know, that's usually when they're hit it. They're not going to be just hit out in the middle of all that commotion. There's usually just a ton of barfish swimming around, you know, hitting that light, barfish and gar and catfish. The bass don't tend to get right in the light. They kind of get around the perimeter and they kind of set up on some structure still. So kind of focus on those areas if you're going out night fishing. Again, you can throw the jigs at night, but you know, one of the worms I'm throwing, it's a big, you know, dark blue, you know, with a, you know, blue fleck 10-inch worm. You know, I'm throwing those and dragging those. Again, done that on a shaky head rig and done it Texas rigged both ways. So look, next week probably have a more detailed thing because I was on vacation. I'll have a more detailed report, but I wanted to make sure I got this report done so I could get it out to you guys. So the big thing is, hey, there's some great crappie fishing going on out here. There's still some good bass fishing going on. Like I said, go to my Instagram page. You can see the Facebook. You can see the pictures of the fish that we were catching. And you know, if you want to come out to Lake Fork, come on out. It's beautiful weather. It's you know, look, it's forecasted to be great this next week. If you want to do some night fishing, I do night fishing trips. What I've been doing for a lot of people is we do a night fishing trip and then go to bed, sleep, and then get up in the morning and finish out a day trip in the morning. So I'll charge one price, you know, for like a full, you know, for like a one-day trip, like a full day trip. And I split that between the nighttime, the hours between the nighttime and the next day in the morning. So look, I'm flexible. If you want to come out and do some great fishing at nighttime, I love being on the lake at night. It's calm usually. You know, you got a full moon that's been out recently, so come on out and do some fishing. You got my, you see my Instagram, so, you know, basically like me on the Instagram, follow me on the Facebook, and then either send me a message on Facebook Messenger or send me any kind of message, or you can call me on the telephone. My number's on the website. So go to my website. It's www.foblakefork.com, or you can just Google Forward Operating Base Lake Fork, and you'll see what's going on here at Lake Fork. But again, I want to kind of thank again my rod sponsor. So, you know, Temple Fork Outfitters has been great, you know, to me, and I love those rods. The more I use them, the more I like them. And again, my FXR 21 from Diamond Sports Marines in Yantis, and this is just a bass fishing machine. It's been great, and I really enjoy getting out on the water on it. Had clients talking about it, and they really like the ride, and it's really smooth and it handles the rough water well. So that's it for this week. So you guys get out and do some fishing, get out of the city, get out of all the, you know, the crazy COVID things that are going on, and come out here to the lake and enjoy yourself. So from Ford Operating Base Lake Fork, you guys have a great day.